there. I just wanted to tell you how I met my husband. So this is that story. I'm hoping to make it less than a 6-minute story, so I better get to it, huh? I was opening a business called Amber's Bungalow. It was an all-ages event for kids who needed a place for displaying their talent since bars weren't an option for kids. There were a lot of internal things in the building that needed repair, so I was spending a lot of time repairing it, and my ex-husband, who I just divorced, was helping me repair it. So we ended up getting close again. We didn't like, be intimate, but we got remarried and then we were, so kind of thing. So, which it still ended up with the same problems that we had when we divorced the month prior. Like, there was still those problems. Like, they didn't get resolved just because we were spending time working together, but because we were spending so much time working together, it was almost like we didn't get divorced. So, if that makes any sense. I met my husband that I'm married to now. It was 12 years ago in April, like almost 12 years ago now-ish. My drummer friend of mine that I had, I told him I really wanted to be a part of a band. I was 27. I didn't really get to experience the band experience because I was busy doing a lot of other things. Like, I was in the Army. I was raising I had 2 kids. There was just a couple of things that I was doing with my life that really distracted and stuff. So I was like, I really want to push towards music and work on my music skills. And he's like, well, I know a couple guys, really talented guys, but they're loud. And I was like, that don't matter. So let's just bring them over. So they came out to the bungalow and we all jammed together. And at the end of the jam session, John and I had the same feeling. It wasn't like we weren't in love or anything, but we had this feeling. I never wanted to be working on music ever again without John because I thought he was so incredibly talented. And he told me he wanted to collaborate and never work on music without me. Like, all of a sudden that day we were like, okay, we're business partners. And it wasn't inappropriate or anything. It's just like that was like where we knew where each other stood on that kind of thing. And throughout the months, Richard and I would fight and we'd have issues and stuff, and I'd go and talk to John about it, and he'd tell me just give me some advices that were, or counsels that were really mature and that kind of stuff. And I just came to this mindset of I just really want to go to this man for every problem I have because I really like his counsel. I really like his outlook on life, and I want to integrate that into my life, and so time went by and I just needed more of him in my life, and time also went by and my heart and everything about him just became I was fangirling so hard on him, I guess. So I loved him, and I loved him more and more every single day. And I came to some point where I told my ex-husband that I was falling in love with him, and he's like, you'll get over it, so, I'm like, I will, maybe I won't. But when I saw that kind of response, and in a way, I mean, if I was married to him and he told me that, I'd feel, I'd be like, F you and go, get out of here kind of thing. But we had already, I think he already knew where we were because there was so many female escapade things that I had dealt with him. That was part of the reason we got divorced in the first place. So I think that maybe he was just kind of being somewhat tolerant and just you'll get over it. And so I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to get over it, and I don't want to be in this place anymore, in this headspace, in this marriage anymore, because of, even just things hadn't changed through. I don't know if that makes any sense, because I know it sounds like that I'm thinking that I'm perfect and I'm not, but I was just kind of thinking, the things that were keeping this relationship, that marriage, in turmoil was still continual, and I had given up. And when I met John, it just it created an outlet for me to finally move away from that space, and it was a better space. In my head, in my heart, my soul, I needed to grow up, and I felt like I had outgrown the person I was married to before, just because there was so much hurt and lack of trust and distrust and things that were happening that shouldn't have been. Anyways, long story. So we won't go there. We're talking about John. So, like, when he told me that I'll get over it, I just thought, no, I won't. And it was time for me to get up and move. And I moved out. I moved out of the house. And I moved. My cousin allowed me to stay at a place that she had, a room that she had. So, so I went and stayed there so I could make myself available and single for John. So I was pushing, being separated and getting divorced. I didn't sign the divorce papers because I didn't have a lot of extra money to go do that. It was like a couple $100 to do that. But I was keeping myself separate and disconnecting, like doing the like legal disconnection type stuff. And just becoming available for John for when he was ready to move in that direction, because I knew he was going to, but I knew that was going to take more time because the circumstances were quite a bit more complex than the issues I had to deal with. So finally, it did finally come to a point, and it was the following April. So, like, from April 2006 is when I met John, and then we were finally together in April of 2007. And we wouldn't have gotten married, though, until 2009. Like, it was August 21st of 2009. So, a couple years had passed, and he was able to disconnect from the space. Like, there comes a time, like, in a relationship, the relationship is severed and there's like irreparable damage. But your default behavior is to continue to go back to that house. The default behavior is to live as if you guys were like roommates, sharing a house. And there's some, like, it was just like out of default that was what both of us were doing. Like, we were just like that, I didn't know any better. I had never been with anything better at that time when I was with my ex-spouse. And so to me, and then also the religious culture, like, it's just not something you do. You're not supposed to get divorced. And I was scared to be like the women out there who get divorced multiply because there's too many problems between every single marriage. And I was scared. I was scared to be independent. I was scared to be on my own and all that, and scared to say I had more than one marriage or married more than one man and that kind of stuff. I didn't want that label kind of thing, because I really feel like I'm a romantic, and I really feel like that when I give my marriage to somebody, or that, like, that's it for me. Like, I'm not even interested in looking. And I feel like that's what's kept John and myself together for so long, because we're both like that. We're not interested in finding other partners or finding out. I'm not interested in finding out. I have way major trust issues, and I just don't want to go find out what someone else's deep issues are, So, I'm happy here. I love my husband like beyond everything. So, anyway, so that's how we met. Just kind of in a band together, and just kind of agreed from day one of meeting that we were going to be collaborating the rest of our lives musically, up to that point. And then, of course, with something that passionate, even though, I mean, we could work without being passionate. Like, we could write songs and stuff. But when you have something like that you share with somebody, it's really hard to not be passionate with them, or passionate, like, have more feeling towards them, because their music writing's like deep, So Anyways, I just wanted to keep this under 6 minutes, and it's 10. Okay, so that was it, how me and my husband met. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, thumbs down if you didn't, and hit subscribe. You'll see some more stories coming up soon, so I'll see ya. Bye-bye.